to be reckoned with. We've seen him have some problems at a few racetracks. He was off, but boy, I tell you what, consistence was his name.
And there's the green light, and the first race of 2021 is on track here in Pro Snowbike Moto #1, and it looks like the Cowboys going to grab that stud boy hole shot.
Down into that sweeping corner, then they take that long back stretch, and again, this goes back and forth 4 times. Then over that huge flyaway by the U.S. Air Force, the flyaway section, and as you said, Kirchmeier looking strong right from the get-go.
Did you catch the no-footer he pulled through that Ziegler Cat section up there on the backstretch?
Well, a lot of times they say that these snowbike riders are more than racers, they're entertainers too.
Well, I'm sure Cowboy's pretty entertained with the hole shot and a good lead as he'll come up the hill around the FXR turn, drop back down here to conclude lap #1 here in this first moto of Pro Snowbike. And we'll get a look at the gap back to second. That's where Troy Herbati is, already up by about 2 seconds.
Keaton Ward sitting there in 3rd place. Keaton ended up in 4th place in points last year. Then it spaces out just a bit as the rest of the drivers work their way across. We talked about Jacqueline Reese, one of the females here in the class. Jacqueline sitting in 5th place currently, and last year she ended up 9th in points.
And a little trouble there for, looked like Troy, who was running in 2nd. The Manitoba rider went down up there in the Dennis Kirk corner before the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Here's a look again at your leader, the Cowboy, Jesse Kirchmeier, as he powers this Polaris sponsored machine around the FXR turn, and he'll come back through here to complete the next lap. And now looks like in 2nd, it'll be Keaton Ward, also out of Montana with the number 195.
Back once again, and you know, the track is such that they're not able to really double up yet. I think they're kind of getting a feel for the track after a period of time. We'll probably see, you know, more rhythm in some of these drivers as they work around the racetrack, but right now, a lot of these sections just kind of rolling through the multiple whoops that the racetrack presents to them.
So the Cowboy works his way back through that Ram Trucks rhythm section, powers around the Fox corner, now down another short chute rhythm section that'll lead back up to the FXR turn. He is gapped out now to about 3.6 seconds over Keaton Ward, and Troy Herbati coming back after the off is about 10 seconds back your leader in 3rd.
Drivers continuing to come across, and another driver off. That's the 157. Or is it just the 57? Was that Horvath again?
Yeah, I think Troy having more issues there with another off on that Kawasaki-based machine. There's Keaton Ward on the 195, rolling along in the 2 spot as he heads past the U.S. Air Force flyaway. And Cowboys starting to come up on some riders at the back of the field. Puts one rider a lap down here coming out of the Fox Shocks corner.
Kind of a sporty jacket he's got on. That's one of the fun things of going to the first race of the year. All these great companies, FXR, seeing what new products they put out. And Keaton definitely put on a kind of a Midwestern plaid for us here this evening.
Yeah, and also flying the Old Glory red, white, and blue themed number plate on the front of that machine as he comes up on another rider to put him a lap down. Looks like that might be Nick Krager's 296 that might be next to go down the lap to your leader's pace as we're past the halfway point here in this first moto of Pro Snowbike.
Boy, it's a great view. Something new that they worked with this summer in the truck races and are bringing it to us tonight, and that of course is the drone camera. Boy, that guy operating it is just incredible. I was talking to some of the staff that worked during the racing this summer, and you know, this guy is so good. As trucks on the dirt track would be going down the track at about 100 miles an hour, that drone just kept right up with him with a tight shot of the driver's helmet and face inside the truck. So it's going to give us some really neat perspectives and some great shots here.
2 to go signal came up last time by for your leader, the Cowboy, Jesse Kirchmeier. Stokel's Arcade, New York home. See, trucks over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Tricky 90-degree turn, and then you just kind of drop right down, and then you have that big jump that leads into this long Ram Trucks rhythm section.
Boy, he looks so consistent already.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can't tell that he had a 9-month layoff, can you? He looks like he hasn't missed a beat from the end of last season. White flag.
Well, probably took the tire off, threw on the Timberline or whatever setup he's got. That or the and let's go snowmobile racing.
Yeah, I believe this is a timber sled conversion kit that the Cowboy rides.
Basically, two different companies that make them, and boy, they just it's a neat deal. And we've talked about this before, how this has really kind of taken off out in the mountains.
Oh, yeah. Right now, Kirchmeier is definitely taken off. You ready for this? Last time through, 13.5 seconds ahead of Keaton Ward. You want to talk about stomping a mud hole in him and walking it dry, or maybe a snow hole in him and walking it dry. Checkers are going to wave here, and the Cowboy picks up the win in motor number 1. A pro snow bike puts himself in the driver's seat to take the overall if he can place well at moto number 2.
Looks over his shoulder, doesn't see anybody, and went, that's good.
Rest of the field just coming around now. We'll see second place Keaton Ward coming across the line here momentarily on the white number 195 as he goes over the AMSOIL finish line. I tell you what, it seems like Jesse Kirchmeier was in the Dakotas and everybody else was in Minnesota.
Yeah, he just he really was able to take and run some great lines out there. New big sponsor this year, West Coast Customs. I know I talked to Gary Coral this morning. Really excited to have them on board. But some other changes too. Emil Haar, the new driver for Judnick Motorsports. Hunter Patno bumping up from Pro Lite Racing Pro in the number 8 Skidoo out of the Shearing Speed Sports, and they're green.
So the pros take off here, and the first stud boy hole shot for the AMSOIL Pro Class this year is going to go to Daniel Benham on the Francis Pelletier on the 220. Teammate to Daniel Benham this year on that Rockstar Makita Skidoo out of Warnet Racing. Looks like Elias in the number 2 spot, and they tripled their way over the U.S. Air Force flyaway.
Yeah, that's huge on the back part of the racetrack. As you see, we talked about how this driver right here did so well. Him and Patno went bar to bar. Oh, Elias almost coming off. But when we watched the 220 sled make its way around the racetrack, we got to remember that, you know, last year Francis Pelletier was a Pro Lite rider. Looking to be pretty strong right now, racing out of a great company on that Makita Skidoo.
And a great start on the opening lap here for Andy Leaders with the number 57. He is tucked in behind Elias and eating a big old face full of that snow roost now as they come around the Skidoo corner.
Back through the back part of the racetrack. And when they come out of this corner, that's where they hit that huge kicker just by the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Now you know why it's called the flyaway. It looks like Ischel now your leader.
And that was Cody Cam pulling off track, so issues with Cody Cam's Polaris.
I think Cody had a problem down here in the corner, so that pulling off maybe may have put it out of alignment a little bit, or having some problems with a tough break for Cody Cam, coming back after, of course, a tough year last year.
Yeah, he sat out a good portion of the year due to injury. Elias Ischel continuing to run here in the number 1 spot with Leaders, and Hunter Patno a little distance behind Leaders, so he's having a good run. And actually, I think we're looking at the timing and scoring serial here. I thought Pelletier was still leading, so we'll double check on that for you.
So as we work our way down through the order, Emil Haar sitting in 4th. Trent Whitwer going back as an independent this year on the new Artie Cat. Kyle Pauline, and then it's Francis Pelletier. Pelletier, I believe, had an issue also, so he back towards the back part of the field. But, well, the Norski's doing okay. That West Coast Customs Skidoo out of Boss Racing. Elias Ischel out in front.
And I was watching Elias when he was coming around the FXR turn a lap ago, and we might be able to get a look at this from some of our ground level cameras down on the straightaways, but you can see, look at the glow there right by his left foot.
That's the brake, and we've seen that so many times that, you know, some drivers use a lot more brake. We've seen this on Ischel's sled before where, you know, he may run the brake a little bit. Of course, the brake is used to change the pitch of the sled as they go over some of these bumps and that. and you know, just using a lot of brake to take and make his way around this racetrack. I remember a race a number of years ago at the same track, Tim Tremblay. We didn't think he was going to have any brakes left when the race was done, but they've made such improvements on the brakes on these sleds, and you know, there's ducting now that forces cool air down into the brake area and that, but that glow is Elias's brakes.
And Elias right now has the 3.5-second advantage over Andy Leaders, followed by Pat Node-Har and Kyle Pauline is your top 5 halfway through this first round AMSOIL Pro Qualifier.
You know, I can elaborate one more thing about that. We've always seen that drivers that are lighter, smaller drivers use more brake than bigger drivers, and I think of Brad Pitlick, who raced for Warner Racing many years ago. He was a very small, compact driver. He was extremely hard on brakes, and back then they'd replace brakes just about after every race.
And here's a battle for the second spot on the Shearing AMSOIL U.S. Air Force sled. Hunter Patino trying to stuff the ski up there alongside Andy Leaders. Andy boxed him out. Coming out of the FXR turn, they'll head over the AMSOIL finish line jump, and you can see great shot from the drone there of Hunter changing his angle in the air so he could land and try to get the run on the inside.
And that's an interesting battle. You got the crafty veteran in Andy Leaders, who's been racing for a long, long, long time. You know, will drop back into the Pro Plus 35 class, but yet comes out and races here in the Pro class, and oh boy, Patno just about off track, whereas you got Patno coming out of the Pro Light class, so you've got the new Pro versus the old crafty Pro. They got a great battle going on for 2-3.
And not too far behind him is Emil Har on the number 31 sled. He's only about 2 sled lengths behind Patnode right now as they get a little separation coming into the FXR turn. And hey, there's Kyle Pauline getting into the mix. Looks like Pauline just grabbed a spot from Emil Har as we get the white flag.
A lot of Polaris is doing battle there. Kyle Pauline on that Polaris, of course, racing with the folks from Lavallee Racing. And Emil Har, last year raced with Henches. This year is the primary pro driver out of Judnick Motorsports.
Look back up front at your race leader, Elias Ishuel, as he heads through that Ram Trucks rhythm section. Powers it around that tricky Fox turn, up off the berm. And just check his rhythm here through this Polaris section of the track. Smooth as glass.
Smooth. Look at him just, you know, railing out a little bit, kind of catching that berm that was already made.
And there's the checkers. So Elias Ishuel begins his title defense with a win in his first round pro qualifier. Hunter Patnode coming through for second at the end as Leaders got drop kicked back to 5th there on the final lap. Pauline and Emil Har also got in front of him, but it's the reigning and defending AMSOIL Pro champion putting a stamp on this first round. Lincoln Lemieux lined up all the way to the left, Travis Muller to his right, and then you have Renheim alongside his Norm, Logan Christian. Look at Logan Christian here on the starting line.
Logan had a little off in practice. I know he was back at the trailer. They were looking at the sled, just about ready to go green.
Underway with this AMSOIL Pro Qualifier here at Elk River. Looks like the stud boy hole shot. Well, I thought it was going to be Logan Christian, and yes, he comes out into the Ziegler Cat Rhythm section on the backstretch with the race lead with Daniel Benham right alongside.
Now Benham in tow, and you look inside and you see that number 13 Skidoo. That's Lincoln Lemieux right in the battle there too. So good racing early on here as you have that Artie Cat out in front, Logan Christian, and man, they're all bunched up behind him.
Yeah, they are beating and banging on each other coming out of that corner. And through this rhythm section, here comes Renheim. He's trying to take a sniff down here to the inside of Jacob Urich, and they almost make contact. Benham almost runs into the both of them as they come out of the FXR corner. And now Benham flying through the air, trying to make a pass on the outside of the Skidoo turn. He got Renheim.
Well, and those guys used to be teammates, so there probably is not a lot of love lost between Renheim and Benham. Benham able to get around him. Of course, Renheim this year racing for Green Mountain Racing. He's on a skidoo ride with them folks.
So Jacob Yerk holding on to third spot now at the moment. And then you've got Benham on the Rockstar Makita Skidoo on a Hornet Racing. Lots of roost, lots of snow dust to deal with here.
Yeah, the weather's such that the snow dust hanging around a bit. We've had foggy conditions all day long, and moving into the night again, fog is predicted. So it'll be interesting to see how the visibility holds up here, but that snow dust is an issue, as you see Benham right there trying to chase down Jacob Urey on that 727 Arctic Cat.
Meanwhile, Logan Christian holding on to the lead as he comes onto the backstretch, and you can look and see Lincoln Lemieux there lurking behind on the black Shearing Speed Sport U.S. Air Force AMSOIL sled. They run 1-2 here in this AMSOIL Pro Qualifiers. Christian triples his way over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. There's a better look at the gap there between first and second from our drone camera.
Logan pretty disappointed last year, coming in 7th in the points battle. Of course, last year, the Cat drivers did not get a new sled. They had some minor updates on it, but of course, Arctic Cat Transition being bought out by Tektronix did not have a new sled. They have a new sled this year, and they are very excited about it.
Yeah, we've talked to a few of the Cat drivers, and they were all smiling. They had the Cheshire Cat grin, shall we say.
Big change was in the rear suspension, moving the geometry of the arms and that, and they just say it is so much more responsive and such a better ride. It handles so much better. We can tell that right now. Logan Christian looking very solid. When you can put that kind of lead on Lincoln Lemieux, you've got a good package underneath you.
We'll be closing in on the halfway point as we watch Lincoln Lemieux here in second on the number 13, putting that AMSOIL U.S. Air Force sled through its paces. And Lincoln was, he was almost like a superhero last year, because there were times that he crashed out. We thought, that's it. He's going to be done for the season. And he bounced right back.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was New York where he took a big digger and everybody thought he was done. And, you know, Lincoln has had, if I'm not mistaken, surgery on both of his shoulders, as he had issues with dislocated shoulders. But you know, talk to people, they said, boy, these guys have been working out between him and Pat Node, that they're a great team together, and looking strong here, running in second place, about a second and a half behind Logan Christian.
And that's what it looks like as you watch Lemieux take the triple over that U.S. Air Force flyaway trump. They're down into the Ram Trucks rhythm section. And you can see the roost that's just flying up in Lincoln's face. He kind of redirects there, so we didn't get a face full coming down to the corner as he shoots down through the rhythm section again. Logan Christian maintaining about a second and a half advantage right now as we come to 2 to go this time.
You know, there's good roost and there's bad roost. I know that sounds like a double negative, but, you know, this snow is relatively dry. It's not sticky. It's more powdery, so when you get roosted, it's not sticking to your goggles. As we move into some races where it's really warm in that, you get roosted and you'll see these guys, you don't know how they even see the racetrack after getting roosted. I mean, it's tough to be in the roost. That's why you see these guys always searching for new lines, trying to stay out of the roost and that. And right now, Lincoln Lemieux trying to just make up some ground on Logan Christian to try to attempt a pass.
Yeah, everybody's locked into positions here over the last couple of laps. Jacob Yerk has a pretty good gap over Daniel Benham, and then it's a couple seconds back from Benham to Adam Renheim running back in the 5 spot. White flag here for Logan Christian.
Logan out of Fertile, Minnesota. Country Cat, his primary sponsor, along with Arctic Cat, TDS Trucking, Studboy, and Speedworks.
A look again from the overhead shot here as they hit the U.S. Air Force flyaway.
Boy, that is huge. That's a big triple. Lincoln just airmailed it. He made up some ground. There's times when you can make up ground in the air, but there's times that you're actually faster if that track's on the ground. Lincoln made up some time right there, going huge over that triple.
And Logan powering his way through this last long rhythm section. Coming up into the FXR turn, Lincoln right there to keep him honest, but in the drag race down to the AMSOIL finish line, Logan Christian will grab the win in this AMSOIL Pro Qualifier with Lincoln Lemieux only 0.4 of a second back. He came from 1.3 to 0.4 in the span of 2 laps. Yerk in for third, followed by Benham in fourth. Renheim finishes fifth.
Jeremy Sheldon out there, Adam Peterson, other racers, Jordan Lavelle, and that's one of the racers we're really going to keep an eye on, racing out of West Coast Customs and Boss Racing.
Whoa, and he got squeezed out there on the outside edge, it looked like, by the number 12 Cameron Anderson on the Skidoo, and Anderson will lead him as they come into the U.S. Air Force Flyway for the first time.
Well, they're not showing him any love at all, are they? You know, that we talked about with some of the drivers earlier on and some of the crew chiefs. You know, when you bump up from sport to pro light, there's a period of time where you have to gain respect, and that racers will acknowledge you and how good you really are. That step even seems to be bigger when you go from pro light to pro, but right now Jordan Lavelle is earning some stripes and a little respect on that racetrack.
113 of Peterson sitting in the third spot as you watch a battle for the lead. Mitchell Thielen, who had a good run in second place finish in his first round qualifier, threatening Anderson for the lead now as they come out of the Skidoo corner.
Peterson sitting in third, Lavelle in fourth, then it's Hayes, Anderson, and Lynn. You're talking about Mitchell Thielen, the driver sitting in second place right now. Another driver that was banged up last year, not able to race the entire season. Making a change and going to a different team this year. Good to see him out looking strong here early on in this heat number one of round two pro light qualifying.
Yeah, in the round number one, Mitchell and Anson Shield had a great back and forth battle. And now, speaking of battles, you see trying to cut in the inside there, Peterson with the 113, trying to get the cut under move, and then just had to check out before he dove his ski right into the tunnel there. So they'll continue around through the Skidoo corner, down what we call the backstretch section of the track here at ERX Motor Park.
Peterson, a Levi Lavalle protege, if you will, racing for, of course, Polaris, Red Bull, and Walker Evans Racing out of Medford, Wisconsin. Seems to, you know, every time we see him, he seems to get a little stronger and a little stronger. And right now, charging hard to try to catch Thielen, who's sitting there in second place, and they both trying to catch Cameron Anderson.
Yeah, Cameron Anderson, after having a little squeeze speed there with Lavelle on the start, has gapped out now by a pretty good margin over Mitchell, about 2.5 seconds, as we continue to watch Mitchell cranking it off the corner here. And again, Peterson trying to find some daylight on the inside around these turns. Now let's see if Anderson or Peterson tries to cut the inside here. Come to the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Yep. Trying to drop down on the inside as we go back to your race leader, Cameron Anderson. Anderson on that Skidoo Fly MBRP Power Sports sponsored entry. Works its way up into the FXR turn here. And Mike, I talked to the Andersons earlier today, and man, they both happy with the performance of their sled so far today.
And that's a team that's really paid their dues. I mean, these two racers, for a while, you know, they really weren't competitive. And when we came into the season last year, I shouldn't say weren't competitive. They weren't in the top, you know, 5 finishers a lot of the time. But when we got going last year, right from the get-go, these guys were strong. I mean, they were both strong. And, you know, both Corbin and Cameron looking to be strong racers. And again, this year, starting where they left off last year, that race team coming out of Allentown, Michigan. Good to see him here. And
Peterson might get a little bit of a break here. Ooh, it was close, but Mitchell looked like he was going to bogged down on the soft stuff on the top, and now Peterson charges him, takes him to the top of the berm.
That was a little love nudge there. Yeah, not bad though. I mean, pretty clean racing. Sometimes you're going to rub a little bit. There was no intent there. You know, good racing between those two drivers, Peterson and Thielen, and they've raced each other time and time again.
That was a classic pass. Just get him to the top of the berm, bog him in the soft stuff, grab the throttle, and go.
Don't give him any place to go.
Yeah. So that'll put Peterson up into the runner-up position here as Cameron Anderson continues to lead. We've seen the white flags around the final lap here in this first of 3 heats in round 2 of Pro Light competition. Anderson making his way back through the Polaris section of the track for the final time.
And we talked about Jordan LaBelle as we watch Anderson go through that back part of the racetrack. There's that jump. LaBelle kind of stuck in 4th place, unable to move up.
He did get a win in his round 1 qualifier. So we'll see how that shakes out for him in terms of the rest of round 2 as to whether that 1-4 finish will be good enough to lock him in to the Pro Lite final, or if he'll have to go to the LCQ as we get. Good takeoff as everybody charges up toward the skidoo turn, and Paik is right in the thick of the mix there. They're almost 3 wide for the lead.
Well, they kind of get sorted out going through the back part of the racetrack. I think Paik fell back into about 4th. I wonder if that isn't Taylor Cole. That's one of the drivers out front on the 714.
Yep, certainly is. And he came from that far outside. Yeah. So Cole will lead him here on the takeoff lap, and it looks like Paik trying to pull a block pass there to get into the 2nd position.
He's right behind, is that Bailey? I believe it's Bailey Forrest that he's behind.
Yep. They'll chase each other over the AMSOIL finish line jump here at the end of lap number 1. Andy short jumps it, cranks to the inside, couldn't get him.
Well, I thought that he had a ski underneath him, but Bailey had a little more and was able to work his way out in front of Andy Paik. Good racing going on between those 2 drivers for 2nd and 3rd. You know, Taylor Cole going, go ahead, guys. You guys just keep battling.
Whoa, look out.
There, we had a couple of guys get off.
Yep. There was contact there. Anson Scheel was one of them. Anson on the Arctic Cat getting his sled refired.
And Nicholas Lorenz on that 572 Polaris, the other driver.
Oh, and Paik almost stuffing into the side of Bailey Force there as Lorenz trying to get it refired. We'll go back to this battle here. This is 2nd and 3rd in the 2nd heat in round 2 of Pro Lite. Bailey Force trying to hold off Andy Paik. There was contact there for sure.
And Paik tried to go down underneath again and just wasn't able to make it work. You can see how this track after a bit gets chewed up, and the back end of their sleds want to skate just a bit. An aerial view giving us a great picture of how these sleds actually handle. It's not just go straight.
Look there, off the track went the Bailey Force. He picked up a U.S. Air Force banner.
Well, it's going to fly with him for a while here. He's got it wrapped around a ski, and we've seen this before. It may have come loose there. It did in that corner, and is now in the track. But yeah, get him outside, unable to hold the position, and that'll move Andy Paik up into 2nd.
So we're coming to the halfway point. It is still Taylor Cole leading. Andy Paik now brings that skidoo up into the 2 spot. He's about 3 seconds back. Forced only lost 1 spot there in spite of picking up an extra passenger. Sits in 3rd. Cody Flack, Adam Levi round out the top 5.
Boy, Cole, that last lap, quite a bit faster than Andy was, almost a 1.5 seconds. So, you know, we talked about a 3-second plus difference between 1st and 2nd, but Andy's really going to have to pick up the pace if he wants to make any kind of run at taking a win here in this 2nd round Heat 2 qualifier.
Great form here from Taylor Cole on that Polaris Walker Evans and FXR sponsored ride. Now comes across the AMSOIL finish line and gets the 2 to go signal this time.
Taylor's been a long-time racer. I remember him back in 120s as a 4, 5, 6-year-old, and has worked his way up through the ranks. Has raced with Playstead Companies and ERX as some of his sponsors for many years. Matter of fact, the race shop just up the road here a bit where they work on those sleds.
And you might have seen out of the corner of the picture there, Andy Paik has narrowed the gap. Taylor Cole had 3 seconds at one point over 2nd place. Andy Paik has trimmed it down to inside of 2.
And it's amazing how 1 lap can make a difference. We talked about how Taylor Cole was about a 1.5 seconds faster than Andy Paik the prior lap. This last lap, Andy Peak almost a second and a half faster than what Taylor was. So, you know, finding lines, racing consistent, and boy, he keeps charging hard.
So we're on the final lap here, heat number 2, round 2 pro light competition. As Taylor again heads over the U.S. Air Force flyaway, elects to just double single his way through that.
You can't be too conservative. You know, Peak is right there, but, you know, less than a half a lap left to go. See that rhythm section. Then he'll make the FXR turn and bring it home to the AMSOIL finish line.
So Taylor Cole will pick up the win here in the second heat and second round pro light qualifying. There's Andy Peak shooting through the AMSOIL finish line jump as he will grab the second position. Bailey Forst some distance back, waiting for him to come across the AMSOIL finish line here to snag the third spot as he floats his way through. Good blast out of the middle there. Looked like Bester had a chance for the hole shot. He's not going to get it as they come charging out of the corner. And oh, we've got a couple of sleds tangled up in the skidoo turn. And up in front, it's going to be the number 711. That's Matt Lamore. And there's the pileup we were talking about.
Boy, hopefully they're not stuck together. We talk about Lamorier, and another driver picked up by Steve Shearing and the Shearing Speed Sports team as he races for AMSOIL, U.S. Air Force Skidoo, and Milwaukee Tools.
Travis Kern trying to do some work here. Whoa, look at that crossover attempt. They are bar to bar now.
Boy, did he close the door on Kern there.
We're watching, this is a battle for the second, third, and fourth spots. Yellow flag, so they'll have to slow down until they get past the incident there. They're still trying to separate those sleds from the opening lap crash, but now we go back to racing, heading toward the U.S. Air Force flyaway, and here comes Evan Dowd trying to crank his way on the inside on the blue and white Polaris with Kern behind him.
Kern trying to take a line underneath, but Dowd just, you know, had position there, and Kern wasn't able to make it work. And these guys all making up ground on Matt Lamore. Theo Poirier out of Woody's Racing right there too on his RD Cat.
Yeah, Theo's got a pack of hungry dogs right behind him. You look overhead from Theo coming across the AMSOIL finish line. You can see the gap up to our race leader, Matt Lamorier, right now as they crank up to that skidoo corner.
Boy, that tight shot really gives you an idea of what the visibility is for these guys in this dry snow dust. And even besides the snow dust, a bit overcast and fog outside, so kind of creates a bit of an issue.
Oh, we almost had them come together again there, coming out of the turn that leads into the Ram Trucks rhythm section. Now, Travis Kern has lost a spot, by the way. Evan Dowd got in front of him, so now Travis trying to return the favor. Actually, this is Poirier and Dowd racing, and Evan Dowd, oh, look at that. Trying to run up on the top of the berm, crisscross, and right back to where we were again.
Yeah, it was a double crisscross. You know, a nice move by Dowd on Theo, and then Theo repaid the pass and was able to move back into second place.
Lead continuing to be held by Matt Lamorier on that AMSOIL U.S. Air Force sled as we continue to watch this pretty good battle here for second and third. Kern coming back into the mix, and looks like this time Evan Dowd may have a run. And he's able to jump in ahead, so Dowd takes over the number 2 position on his Polaris.
Still 2-3 laps left to go. Evan's really going to have to make up some ground now if they want to try to catch Matt Lamorier on the AMSOIL Skidoo.
Yeah, Theo almost gave him a little hip check there at the top of the FXR turn, but Dowd hangs on.
Love nudging going on yet.
Now, Snocross sometimes can be a contact sport. With the number of tight turns that we have, especially in the infield section of this track here, Mike, contact's going to be the order of the day.
Well, and the lines, as the track develops, are going to, you know, be limited. I mean, you're going to find good lines, and I mean, if you want to try a different line that doesn't work for you, I mean, that doesn't make sense either because you're going to lose some ground. So, like you said, sometimes maybe a bit of contact is going to take place, but it's all good racing. Somebody off the racetrack there, was that Theo?
Yeah, that was Theo, and he's got to come over the top of the berm, so he's going to fall back at least a spot, maybe two, as we're getting ready to come to the white flag this time. And Evan Dowd has chopped down a little bit of Matt Lamourier's lead, but not much. It's still about a 2-second gap between first and second.
Yeah, both Kurt and Carson Allred got around Poirier, as he'll drop down into fifth spot. There's your race leader, though. Got out in front early on. Matt looking strong here.
Had a strong round one effort as well, so he's trying to stake his claim to be top qualifier here in Pro Light this evening.
And we know how important round points are, too.
Evan Dowd bogging down just for a second there as they head on to this Polaris straight. Meanwhile, Lamourier will bring it off the FXR turn and carry it down to the AMSOIL finish line as we wrap up Pro Light qualifying. Evan Dowd finishes second to Matt Lamourier. The gap was at about 2 seconds at the finish. And Travis Kern comes through for third, Allred in fourth, and Theo Poirier, after running in second for a good portion of this race, has to settle for a fifth position. Riders nodding, which means we're moments away from the green light and the start of our first FXR Sport Final of 2021. They'll streak off the line, hit it up into the skidoo corner. Who can grab the stud boy hole shot?
Look pretty strong out in the middle there as they work into the far part of the racetrack.
Looks like Kyle Kuntzman was right there in the mix. And wow, look at that redirect in the air to block off the rest of the field by your leader as they streak over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. It's going to be the 144. That's Emilic Legendra, who has the advantage on the blue machine there of the Theme Motorsports Fly Racing Skidoo.
We talk about Theme Racing. This guy can hardly wait till we get to Deadwood. His teammate will be here. Aki Palaya signing with Theme, and will be racing with that team here starting in Deadwood. But right now, he out in front looking strong as he's got about a second lead over Kenny Mandrick. Then it's Kyle Kuntzman, Bo Tibbetts, Adam Ashline, and Evan Christian in sixth.
And this is a track where you definitely don't want to wind up at a deficit after the first couple of laps. It's going to be really, really hard to try to work your way up through the field. Emmerich doing a good job here over the U.S. Air Force flyway. You can see Kenny Mandrick is only a couple of sled lengths behind. Cuts down to the end of that flyway section, launches into the Ram Trucks rhythm section, got the triple in. He's drawing in on the leader.
Yeah, he made up some ground, able to try to make a move underneath, but nicely done as Emmerich able to cover the line. Here he comes again. Let's see if Kenny can move underneath.
Well, he moved underneath. He almost moved him off the corner there coming out of the FXR turn, and they are going to be nose to tail as they go over the AMSOIL finish line jump. And again, Emmerich protecting the inside, but he opens a lane up as they head towards the skidoo corner. Mandrick can't get there in time. Maybe he does. There's problems for Emmerich's sled.
Oh, what a tough break out in front, and having sled problems, and he can't get it to refire. Emmerich with a problem with his sled, and that's going to allow Kenny Mandrick to move into the lead, and everybody bumps up.
So Mandrick now taking the top spot with the number 102 sled. Sponsored by Polaris FXR Stud Boy and CNA Pro Skis, riding from Nebing, Ontario.
Boy, he was pushing hard too. That was a good battle between him and Emmerich.
And that's going to move Kyle Kuntzman into second, and Bo Tibbetts into third. Evan Christian and Adam Ashline are going to bump up spots as well.
Christian actually got around Tibbetts, so Christian now on a podium spot sitting in third place.
See the yellow flag there is unfortunately Emmerich's sled still stalled out there at the top of the skidoo corner. Kenny Mandrick coming around the Kirk corner over the U.S. Air Force flyaway.
They're the battle for second and third. You see the 333, Evan Christians out of Findlay, North Dakota. racing for Polaris, Fly Racing, WPS, and Walker Evan Shocks.
And another problem on track, another sled being pushed off the outside edge of the track there. You saw the yellows just starting to wave from the drone camera. Not sure which rider that was that was involved in the incident. We'll update that for you in a second as Mandrick continues to hang on to the lead. The gap right now about 2 seconds back to Kunzman and Christian in second and third.
Well, they keep digging, trying to make up some ground. Mandrick looking strong, though. You know, that's the big thing. Just, you know, race consistent, race within yourself.
Trouble on the AMSOIL finish line jump now. Yellow flag out there as Freeland came off the 821 sled. He'll get back on, get it fired back up. Little space now amongst the top three, although Christian is starting to draw in here a little bit. Trying to close up here on Kyle and maybe have a run for the 2 spot.
They come by this time, they're going to get the signal 2 laps left to go, Paul. Boy, look at Christian. Just right there. Both those guys right there. Look at Kunzman. Kunzman just right behind, and a yellow flag in that corner yet as we've got a couple of sleds that have had problems on the racetrack.
So working toward the white flag when they get back to the AMSOIL finish line jump. Battle here for second and third. Kunzman on the Skidoo, the 107, being chased in third by Evan Christian on that number 333 Polaris. They're only separated by a couple of sled lengths as they come to the end of the Ram Trucks rhythm section. Tried to dive from the inside there, but Evan wasn't able to make the move and loses a little bit of forward momentum as a result. White flag now waving as your leader, Kenny Mandrick, heads off toward the Skidoo corner as we follow second and third under the white flag.
Mandrick came in as your number 1 qualifier here. I'm sorry, the number 9 qualifier, currently sitting in the lead. Officials watching closely that when these guys get those 2 yellow zones that there's no passing.
So Kenny Mandrick launches over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. He'll head toward this Ram Trucks rhythm section for the final time. Triples his way in. It's going to be a great boost for Kenny Mandrick to pick up a win in the first race of the season.
Well, any driver that wins that first event kind of puts a little extra fuel in your tank. You know that you can do it. It keeps you driven and you work harder.
There's the checkers. So Kenny Mandrick will win the first FXR Sport Final of the year. Kyle Kunzman will finish second. Final spot on the podium as they came across the line went to Bo Tibbetts as Evan Christian had some issues, and there's some congratulations there. You can see one very pumped up Kenny Mandrick. Kyle Kunzman getting congratulations over there as well.
Congratulations, excited to be up here on the podium. It's the first race of the season, but let's go right to that start line when you guys took off and all 15 sleds were going right for that first corner.
Honestly, I have no clue what you just said. I can't hear you, but it was crazy out there. Last year I got hurt, first day practicing, and it was definitely the year to be hurt, but it sucked and we came back stronger.
And is there anyone you'd like to thank tonight?
Yeah, everybody in the trailer, my mom, my dad, my sister, my girlfriend, Carson for coming out, the whole parish family, Grosjean Specialties, FXR for keeping me nice and dry, everybody at Polaris, Junior, Ben, Scott, they've just been awesome to work with. And
well, a huge congratulations to you on your third place.
Thank you.
Bo Tibbetts in third place. In second place, out of Delvin, Wisconsin, racing for Skidoo, XPS, and FXR on the 107 Skidoo, that is Kyle Kunzman.
Kyle, finishing in that second place position, let's talk about these track conditions a little bit. Going through this is the first time on the track this season. Talk me through it.
Yeah, so we worked our butts off this year to just prepare and get ready for everything, regardless of what was going on. It was so, we had no clue what was going on, but we worked hard and we rode ERX a ton, so it was really nice to get on somewhat of a hometown track. And track was awesome out there. ISOC did a great job. I love technical tracks with a lot of rollers, and I couldn't have been happier with the result.
And who would you like to thank tonight?
Huge thanks to Tom Belair, the whole Belair family, Jake, Bailey, Tom, Sue, my teammates Moline and Tomo, FXR for the awesome gear. It's keeping me warm and I'm looking good in it. Ingram Motorsports set up my shocks awesome this weekend. Studboy Traction, Rock Speed, and anyone else I forgot. My mom and dad. My mom, dad, and my brother, I couldn't do it without them too.
Of course, a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And your winner in the FXR Sport Final here at ERX on the number 102 Polaris out of Nebeen, Ontario, sponsored by Polaris, FXR Studboy, and CNA Proski, Kenny Mandrick.
A huge congratulations to you on the first race of the season.
I can't hear anything.
That's okay. You got that one out of the way. Let's go back to where you passed for that first place. Can you talk me through what your thought process was passing right there?
I can't hear you, Josie. So the race went well. It's been a long 3 years in sport class. That's finally getting a win from it. It feels real good to finally stand up on the top of the podium. I got to put a whole thank you out to my mechanic, Christopher. I wouldn't be where I am today without him. He's the eye in our team. He knows his stuff, and that's why we are where we are today. And also, I can't thank Tycon Construction and iCheck 2000 for enough. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. And as long as and everybody at Polaris, they helped me out huge. And FXR, Studboy, Walker Evans, CNA Pro Skis, Scott Goggles, CTI knee braces, Boreal Carpentry, and everyone else. I forgot, my mom and dad, everybody back home watching. We finally made it. Thank you.
A huge congratulations to you, well deserved.
And they're off the line. The pros in competition here once again in the AMSOIL Pro Division, and they will blast out of the corner. And it looks like one of the Henches sleds has grabbed the Studboy hole shot.
And one of the Warner sleds, the Makita Skidoo, is also there along with an Artie Cat. Here's Logan Christian on the outside. He won his earlier round of qualifying. And until we can really get a look at the number on that sled, we will, like you said, it's one of the Henches Polarises.
Yeah, and that is...
Because both of Oscar Norm and Cody Cam are in this heat.
Yeah, and that is Cody Cam that is out in front. This is the battle for second. Pelletier on the Warnet sled. Wow, on the inside. Hard check there from Oscar Norm.
Yep, and Oscar on the other Henches Monster Energy Polaris. You know, said to Pelletier, hey, guess what? Welcome to the pro class here.
So they're battling. Meanwhile, Oscar's teammate Cody Cam, who had a mechanical issue in his round one qualifier, he is off to the races literally as he's gapped out a good lead as they head over the Air Force flyaway.
And if you remember that first round of qualifying in his heat, Cody Cam having a problem here down in the corner, did not even finish the heat. So Cody Cam trying to better his first round qualifying. When you talk about Cody Cam, they used to have a race here. They did not have it last year, but the 2 years prior, called the ERX Eliminator, which was an elimination type format, and the winner took home $10,000. Cam's no stranger to this track. The two eliminators that were held here, guess who walked out with the $10,000? Cody Cam each year.
And he's walked out to a 3-second advantage right now over Francis Pelletier. There's Oscar Norm on the Polaris Monster Energy Henches Racing sled that bookends the top three right now with Cam out in front. Norm sitting in the third spot here.
Pelletier getting a lesson, jumping from Pro Light into the Pro class. He's got, like you said, one of the Henches Polarises both ahead of him and behind him. Muller sitting in fourth. Then it's Logan Christian, Emil Haar, Leaders, and Cole Coutu.
Yeah, Coutu pulling off, unfortunately, having mechanical here in round number 2 action as we get a great overhead shot again. Watching the battle a little further back in the field. Logan Christian pushed right out to the edge of the track, coming down to the corner. Here comes Emil Haar right behind him. And at the same time, Logan trying to work to get a spot ahead with Travis Muller right in front of him as they head toward the Skidoo turn.
Boy, Haar working that outside line. taking a run at Logan Christian, but here's your race lead, or rather, that's Oscar Norm.
Yeah, watching battles further back here as Logan and Emil come over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Emil jumps right to the edge. Yep, he's going to try to cut inside of Logan here as they head toward the Ram Trucks rhythm section. Good battle for position here between these two. And they are tucked right in now behind Travis Muller. So this is going to become a three-way battle. 4th, 5th, and 6th places. The top three have strung out a little bit. Cut to the inside. And there's the move there. Emil Hart getting by Logan Christian now, setting his sights directly in front of him on the 436 of Muller.
Logan looked like he was going to try a counter there, but just didn't have the position. So Logan will lose the spot. Hart now trying to chase down Travis Muller, as you mentioned. Muller, one of the independents, racing with Odson Underground, Midwest Ag Advisors, and Fast Speed and Chemical as a couple of his sponsors, racing out of Delft, Minnesota. Been a long-time racer and went back as an independent here a few years ago.
Well, crank around that Fox Shocks turn back through this Polaris section. Well, let's see if Emil can get a run here as they work their way up toward the FXR corner. He blasts to the inside. Not able to lock the pass out, though. He'll have to chase Muller over the AMSOIL finish line jump.
But he may have set him up coming into the corner here. Watch Emil come back down underneath. And that's exactly what I think he did there, Paul. He got Emil up. Emil had to brake a little more to rub off a little more speed. So when they came down that straight part of the racetrack, that gave Emil more speed and was able to make the pass back in that next corner.
So Emil's made up a couple of spots here in this one as he heads off the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Still Cody Cam out in front by 3.5 seconds over Pelletier and Oscar Norm.
That's a good racing move by the Judnick Motorsports new pro rider, Emil Harm. Here we are back up front. Cody Cam coming off his injury and a new dad too.
On his final lap here in this AMSOIL Pro qualifier, as he works off the Skidoo corner down through this Ziegler Cat rhythm section on the back stretch. Great overhead shot again here as we watch him hit the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Cody looks loose, he looks comfortable, he looks fast.
Big changes on those Polarises this year was the motor. And you talk to the Polaris riders, they talk about how it's got so much more torque and pull and horsepower. Really see a difference in it.
Cody Cam will take the checkered flag in this AMSOIL Pro qualifier. Francis Pelletier comes through for the second spot. And Cody's teammate, Oscar Norm, on the Monster Energy Polaris finishes off in third. Come around the FXR turn. Elias giving chase from second. There's Benham on the Warner Racing Makita Rockstar Skidoo behind him in third. So Ischel winner in round number 1 on this West Coast Custom sled. Also sponsored by Jimmy John's. Now chasing after Jacob Yerk here as he tries to sweep both rounds of pro qualifying here this evening.
He again looking strong. Watch him as he, boy, goes way outside, just to the edge of the racetrack, and will attack through the back part again as he tries to chase down Jacob Urich. Talked to Gary Coral. Gary up in Winnipeg at home for this race. Just really excited about what this team has to offer between Elias Ischel and Jordan LaBelle. What a strong team, looking for great things in that West Coast Custom race team.
Elias trying to cut the inside there, trying to get out of that snow dust a little bit for better vision, but also trying to set up a run here. And he came barreling into that skidoo corner on the inside, literally.
Squared it up almost.
Yeah, literally just let the berm slow the sled. He wasn't even on the brakes, I don't think. They're coming to the U.S. Air Force Flyway. Still about a 2 sled length gap. Elias goes way to the outside and then tries to cut inside, but Yerk already coming into the Ram Trucks rhythm section as he triples his way in.
Number of laps left to go, too. So there he is, right underneath him. Little love nudge. Oh, look at Jacob. Jacob's not going to give up. He's going to hold the position. That's strong racing and a strong statement by Jacob Urich. And again, Elias trying to do it and move underneath again.
Yeah, Jacob standing his ground there on a couple of occasions when they got together coming down to that box shocks turn. Their momentum, they were so slow they literally almost came to a dead stop. And then it was a drag race out of the corner that Jacob was able to win. Elias tried to get him back. Nothing doing, and now Elias back a couple of sled lengths here trying to regroup and mount a fresh attack here as we close in on the halfway point of this AMSOIL Pro Qualifier.
Thought process going on. You know, he tried a couple of different things. They didn't work. Now in his mind, watching the line that Jacob's taking, going, where can I try something new here? And, you know, Ishol trying everything that he can. Look at him go way outside here. Going to try to set him up and come back down underneath. That's what Jacob's got to watch out for. He's got to cover that line. You know, you have to kind of mentally in your mind envision what the guy behind you is going to do. You want to race your race, but yet you've got to be a little defensive, too, to protect your position.
Jake putting in a great ride here at the head of the class back through the Ziegler Cat section of the track as we take an overhead look at your leader headed toward the U.S. Air Force Flyaway. The gap only at about a second or so between himself and defending AMSOIL Pro champion Elias Ishol, chasing him for the number 2 spot. Benham is third, and by the way, the Shearing Speed Sports teammates of Lemieux and Patton are in 4th and 5th.
Jacob Urich out of Michigan. They've got their race shop set up here in Annandale, and I believe they practice here at ERX also.
2 laps left to go in this AMSOIL Pro Qualifier. And Ishol starting to draw in again on Jacob Urich. Not close enough to make a move yet, but he's making up that ground.
He's about 0.3 of a second faster the last lap. As you said, laps counting down. The white flag will be out this time by. You know, that we talked about it last year a lot about how Elias Ishol has matured, and I think this is showing some real maturity again. In his younger days of racing as a pro, I mean, he would have been a wrecker right now. He would have really been going after it, but he sees that, you know, Jacob's giving him a run. And look at again, Jacob covering the line, able to pull away from him.
Yeah, Elias, I thought, was going to go far to the outside, try a power move, and then he all of a sudden redirected and came to the inside. And now we're on the final lap, and pressure is on here for Jacob Urich on the Arctic Cat here as they go launching up the hill towards the highest point of the track. Here is where they'll make that Kirk corner, work their way down here, and again, right out to the edge as Ishol almost off the track.
Trying to take him in the air.
Yeah, trying to square off that corner now as they hit the Ram Trucks rhythm section for the final time. Urich a little out of shape there. Ishol draws closer, not close enough, runs into the back of him.
Watch them as they come back through here. Boy, Ishol's brake just cherry red.
He'll try one more cut move here in the final corner. And Jake Urich with a great ride here in this AMSOIL Pro Qualifier holds off your defending pro champion, Elias Ishol, for the win. Daniel Benham will come home third. So congratulations there between Elias and Jacob Urich. And
got that beam that if they break, they know that somebody's creeping and keeping them in check. Here we go again.
The Pro Lite LCQ on track here at Elk River. Again, top 5 make the show. Anson Shield trying to come through, but in front of the field. Looks like that might be Evan Dowd who's got the whole shot.
Evan Dowd was you know, back just a bit and really found a burst of speed, was able to work his way up to the front of the field, and a good start for the Polaris driver, Evan Dowd.
Well, one slick getting tilted almost sideways coming off of the corner here, leading into the Ram Trucks rhythm section. A little further back, that's Tyler Ullman on the number 25 Arctic Cat. He's in the hot seat right now in the final transfer spot. They're going bar to bar for third and fourth just in front of them. Battle here for the second position.
There we got, he got
Whoa.
punted. Boy, look at this. Guys are trying to get a yellow flag out there to protect that driver. Fortunately, everybody able to get around him.
So as they came across the line, Dowd the leader, and Riley Bester, Theo Poirier, Cody Flack, and Ullman now are your top five.
Nicholas Lorenz sitting in that sixth position. So Ullman on the bubble. Bailey Forrest, Levi Lind, and I wonder if that was an Anson Shield that took the love nudge and got knocked off his sled.
So we're continuing to follow the battle here for that final transfer spot as Lorenz trying to draw in on Tyler Ullman here. A little further back, Bailey Forrest, the 341 there in seventh, and it looks like Adam Levi right there with him as Lorenz tries to gas it away. He's gotten the spot, so Lorenz into that last transfer spot on that Jack Link sponsored sled.
Ullman's not going to give up, though. Ullman, he'll keep charging here on his Arctic Cat, but Lorenz sitting in second, and man, I can't believe in that short distance was able to put about a second and a half plus on Tyler Ullman. So now Lorenz on the bubble. He's in. Can he hold on to that, at least that fifth spot?
Well, he's going to stay on the throttle, I'm sure, and try to make the insurance pass, try to catch up to Cody Flack in front of him on the number 39 sled as Lorenz airs it out over the U.S. Air Force flyaway. You can see just in front of him there with the FXR gear. That is the 39 of Cody Flack, the rider out of Alaska on the BTR suspension Dirty Dog Performance sponsored machine. Oh, in trouble for Lorenz. Lorenz's sled bogs down and stalls.
I think he's got drivetrain problems because the motor was still running on that sled and he just had no drive forward.
So the white flag waves and Tyler Ullman goes back into the final transfer position here with just a lap left to go.
Tough break for Nicholas Lorenz. Like I said, his hand was in the air and the light was still on in the sled, which leads me to believe either a chain or a belt or something like that. But back up front, there's your race leader, Evan Dowd, sitting with about almost a 5-second lead over the rest of the field.
Evan working his way up toward the FXR turn here for the final time. And he'll drop down here toward the AMSOIL finish line jump. Evan Dowd wins the Pro Lite LCQ. Goes a little can-can action coming across the AMSOIL finish line. Riley Bester in for the second spot. Theo Poirier in third. Cody Flack looks like he will come through for the fourth spot. And Tyler Ullman coming across the line there. Your fifth and final transfer to tonight's Pro Lite final. And there's the launch for the Pro-Am Women Final. Who will come away with the stud boy hole shot? They go scrambling down into the turn. Megan Brodeur side by side here for the lead with McKenna Kleeman, and Kleeman has the advantage.
This is one thing, and there's Maylene Anderson, Woody working the outside. This is one thing that Megan Brodeur is really good at. It's called patience. You know, she'll watch this develop for a half a lap, whatever it takes. And when she thinks it's time to make the move like she's doing right here, works to the outside, will probably pick up at least one place, and now is following your leader. That's an important part of racing, is that patience part.
As they come out of the FXR turn, Taven Woody was able to take the lead from Kleeman back in the Polaris section, and Megan made the move up into the number 2 spot. So they are 1-2 here at the end of lap number 1 in this Pro-Am Women Final. As you look at the gap, they're into the skidoo corner, goes Taven Woody, and here comes Megan, hard on the hammer on the skidoo.
Taven's right where she wanted to be. This is what she has been working for, you know, all the time in the gym, all the time on the racetrack and everything like that. She just keeps working hard to try to take a win over Megan Brodeur. Could this be the night? Well, we got a few more laps and we'll find out.
And meanwhile, Maylene Anderson has worked her way up now ahead of McKenna Kleeman, so she's up into the 3rd position as we look at the lead battle coming off the Fox Shocks corner, headed onto this Polaris straight. Megan Brodeur redirects, looks toward the outside, got it a little sideways there in the middle of that straightaway, so she'll maintain about a sled length back behind Taven Woody as we come across the line at the AMSOIL finish line jump to complete lap number 2.
And Megan shaved off about 1/10 of a second. They both running really good lap times, 55.704 to 55.584. Taven needs to just keep running her lines. But again, that patience of Megan Brodeur right here, this is what she does.
Yep.
She'll take and, put a ski underneath you to let you know that she's there. Then she's going to transfer outside. Now watch her come back down underneath.
Yeah, she that's kind of the Snocross version of honking the horn there. And, well, little misdirect there for Megan Brodeur coming through the Ram Trucks rhythm section. She kind of went out of rhythm there a little bit, so she's going to have to get herself back together here as she tries to draw in on your race leader as Taven Woody comes back to the AMSOIL finish line jump halfway through this pro women final.
This good race, 6 laps, and like you said, Paul, halfway through, this is when Megan needs to charge a little more and Taven needs to ride just like she's doing right now. Ride within herself, find good lines. Here comes Megan trying to get a ski underneath again. Now she goes outside. This is when she'll come back underneath.
And it's going to be a drag race here into the Ram Trucks rhythm section. And here comes Megan. Again, she lost the rhythm there, though, and she falls back a little bit, but she's going to launch in alongside of Taven Woody. They're going to bang together up to the top of the berm. Megan takes the lead from Taven Woody.
That's one thing you can't do. You can't give the line away. You kind of have to read what your opponent's going to do. And right there, Taven wanted to stay down low, and Megan found a line outside and was able to make the pass.
So now 2 to go, and Megan Brodeur starting to pull away from Taven Woody after that battle that lasted about a half of a lap there between the two of them before Megan was able to finally lock down the lead, and now she is pulling away.
That patience paid off for her, no doubt. She watched Megan, watched Taven very closely, found a part of the racetrack where she was a little bit faster, was able to make a move and got a ski down underneath, then worked her back to the top side and made the pass, and there's your leader right there.
And let's give a call out. You mentioned that Tasha Lang did not have a good qualifying effort earlier today. She is about 20 seconds back from the leader, but she's up to 4th place. So a little bit of redemption here for Tasha after a less than ideal rounds of qualifying today. White flag is waving. There's Maylene Anderson riding in 3rd. And she is way ahead of Tasha, so as long as she stays upright, she's going to grab a podium here in the first race of the year. Taven working her way out of the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Maylene trying to put the pressure on here towards the end, starting to draw in here a little bit. Lap riders giving way, letting the leaders battle it out. Meanwhile, Megan Brodeur is into the FXR turn for the final time. And here comes the checkered flag, and it's a familiar sight. Megan Brodeur wins the first Pro-Am Women final of the year. Taven Woody hangs on for the runner-up spot, just a couple of sled lengths behind. Maylene Anderson comes away with the 3rd position. Rest of the finishers still making their way around the track as we look at Megan, goggles off, and kind of see the smile on her face already, picking up that first win of the year. Tasha Lang just getting ready to come to the AMSOIL finish line jump here under the double checkers in a moment, so she will come away with the number 4 position.
Who made it up here, 3rd place. Who would you like to thank tonight?
Who would you like to thank? Wow. Bel-Airs, all the Bel-Airs, Sue, Tom, Jake, and FXR, Skidoo, all my sponsors at home, my mom, my dad, all the K2s, Cole, and well,
You never know, though, what
yeah,
you're gonna.
everyone. Thank you.
Well, huge congratulations on your 3rd place.
And our runner-up finisher aboard the Arctic Cat Idahoan FPS Fowler Parts Service Dayco and Wood Care sponsored number 873 Arctic Cat from Wyoming, Taven Woody.
Taven, talking to you yesterday, you were really excited to get out there and get on the track. How was that first race getting out of the way, finishing 2nd?
Oh, it was fantastic. I felt like I picked up right where I left off last year and probably even better. Led the first, 3 laps, 4 laps, and I just felt fantastic that whole entire race. I can't wait to get up on the box tomorrow. We'll get up here as #1 spot, and really good job to Megan and Malene. If it wasn't for these 2 girls pushing me, I wouldn't get any faster than, so I'm really thankful for them, and I'm really glad they came over the border and they were able to get across. But I want to say a huge thanks to FXR, MTH for my massive truck. Its new name is Bigfoot, so thank you to them. Mike Claudia, Arctic Cat, Doug Ross, Diane from FXR. Who else? There's so many people to thank. Idaho and Potato, CNA Pro Skis, Tread, Filer Motorsports, Matt, my awesome mechanic, Colton, I couldn't thank him enough. Everybody at the trailer, Brandon, Matt, Bob, Duncan, Curtis, one of our best friends for coming out from Idaho. Can't be me more excited to have him here, and everybody else I forgot. Thank you.
A huge congratulations on your 2nd place, Taven.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Pro Women main event winner this evening, sponsored by Skidoo BRP, Fly Racing, Walls Unlimited, and KYB Atlas. From Codecook, Province, Quebec, Megan Brodeur.
Megan, you ended the season last year on top, and you picked up right where you left off. But let's go to that start line and why it's so important to get out front right away.
Of course, during my heat, I had all shots, both of them, and then I was confident for the final start, but then it didn't go quite as good as I was hoping for. I just was patient all race long, and I made the pass at the right time, and then we brought home the win, so I'm happy.
And who would you like to thank tonight?
Of course, my Skidoo sled was riding good. People at BRP, Danny, everyone at the shop, also my team and the Sun Racing, Fly Racing, thanks Rich for those gears. Also WPS, back home, my family, my dad, my mechanic. Also these Marine, MBRP, NKLS, Jovi Design, also Stud Boy, Messar, Matrix Design, and Rock Speed, and everyone who's helping me out. Thank you very much. And my parents, that's it.
Well, they're getting ready to get up on the power as we get ready to launch Pro Snowbike Moto #2 here at Elk River, Minnesota. And the cowboy Jesse Kirchmeier pushing it hard, trying to get the whole shot, but he's got company on the inside as they work their way off the corner. Keaton Ward there on the 195 trying to step up alongside, but Kirchmeier will have the advantage as they go into the Kirk corner and head for the U.S. Air Force flyaway.
Yeah, Ward looked strong coming off the line, but Kirchmeier, it's like he found another gear and was able to pull away. So Kirchmeier positions himself out in the lead now. Ward sitting in second, and if Kirchmeier wins, it's a game, set, match. He's going to be winning this snowbike class.
And it's easier to control your destiny from the front of the field than it is the back of the field, for sure. So Kirchmeier will lead lap #1 here in the second Moto Pro Snowbike as he comes across the AMSOIL finish line jump. Track freshly regroomed here for the Pro Snowbike racers. Keaton Ward, a couple of seconds back, but trying to keep the leader in sight as they head up through the Ziegler Camp Rhythm section. A little bobble there for Kirchmeier. Keaton closes down on them over the U.S. Air Force flyaway, and he's right up behind the cowboy as they head toward the Ram Trucks Rhythm section.
And sometimes you can push too hard. These things, as was said earlier, you've really got to be on top of your game. I mean, these things they're dicey to really drive. You've got to have forward inertia, and if you get them over to the side too much, you're in trouble. If you remember last year at Canterbury, Kirchmeier was out in front and took a digger on the back part of the racetrack. It can jump up and bite anybody at any time.
Battles a little further back in the field. Looking at Bobby Pagel there on the number 891, trying to make an outside move here on the FXR turn. That outside line, a berm there just not quite tall enough for him, and he'll fall back a little bit. And in front of Pagel, that is Nick Krager on the number 296. So this is the battle for 5th and 6th place now coming out of the Skidoo turn. Pagel trying to work back to the inside here as they head for the U.S. Air Force flyaway. Not tripling over that like we've seen with some of our snowcross racers, but rather doing the double single and then trying to at least carry their way through and get as many doubles as possible here through this Ram Trucks rhythm section.
I don't know if they really haven't figured out that they're trying to double-double, or if it's the course is in such a manner that they just can't do that. But well, your race leader, he's figured out how to get around this racetrack in a short amount of time. Already
lapping riders at the back of the field. Cowboy, Jesse Kirchmeier. And he's definitely got the rhythm down here through the Ram Trucks rhythm section. He's able to double through most of it and then just rolls a couple of singles and really carves it there on the middle line coming through that Fox Shocks corner. Nice berm is built up there, and that's perfect for these snow bikes.
Yeah, they like that. You know, they like when it's groomed, so there's not a lot of ruts in it, but they sure like when you've got those berms in the corner. It just gives them a way to rail that snow bike around the corners and to carry more speed through the corner into the next part of the racetrack.
Watching Keaton Ward here out of Bozeman, Montana. This is one of the Timber Sled sponsored riders. Timber Sled, one of the companies that makes the conversion kits here. Yeti Snow MX is the other. Ward flying the colors for Timber Sled here in the number 2 spot, just a little under 4 seconds behind race leader Kirchmeier.
Jesse ran just a tick over 53 seconds his last lap. Keaton Ward just a tick under 53 seconds, so still almost a 4-second differential between first and second.
Just a couple laps left to run here, and Jesse Kirchmeier, winner of Moto number 1 in Pro Snowbike. If he stays upright here, locks it down, it's a 1-1 breakout the broom sweep.
Boy, they take it wide in that one corner, don't they? Take it right out to the edge of the racetrack.
Jesse coming up on another rider at the back of the field. We'll clear him down here on the inside.
The big jump, doubles up, then he does a single and another single before taking and going into the ram portion of the racetrack.
White flag will come out this time. Jesse takes a little bit of a different line there, coming off the Fox Shocks corner, but still smooth, comfortable. Looking forward, looking ahead here, and you'll see the white flag as he comes to the AMSOIL finish line.
Well, it's amazing the amount of torque that these 4-stroke motors have.
A lot different animal riding a 4-stroke than the sled motors, of course. And Jesse still throws a leg over a sled from time to time. Said he was enjoying doing some riding back home on one of Bruce Gaspardi's Southside Polaris sleds. Went out on it, second time out, he blew it up.
Gaspardi went, why don't you stay to your snow bike?
Stick to the snow bike. So Jesse just about a quarter of a lap away here as he works through the Polaris section for the final time, back up onto the FXR turn and break out the broom and cowboy up. Jesse Kirchmeier sweeps motos and wins the overall in Pro Snowbike.
Well, it's an impressive start. Just the way that he ended up racing last year.
And there's the green light and the launch. Kyle Pauline able to out-drag everybody from the middle. Renheim flanking him to one side as they go powering down the Ziegler Cat section. And speaking of cats, we've got an Arctic Cat jumping up in front. It's Trent Whitworth.
Here's a little twist too. We've just been told by Scoring and Timing that 6 of these guys are going to move on to the final, and whoever wins this gets a pick as to whether or not they want to be on the front row. So we've seen that before when our numbers have been down in the AMSOIL Pro class, but now again doing it here in the LCQ and Pro again.
So Whitworth will lead here at the end of lap number 1 as he comes across the AMSOIL finish line. And trouble for Adam Renheim. He has crashed. Oh, that's bad for Adam Renheim. He hasn't even come across the AMSOIL finish line for lap 1 yet. Now just coming across. Here's a look at the replay. Let's see what happened here. He had a little...
He might have had a little help there.
Little help there, yes. Knocking down some tough blocks. So that means right now Andy Leaders has the final transfer spot in the 6th position right now aboard the number 57 as we look at Andy powering his way out of the Ram Trucks rhythm section.
Andy out of Wausau, Wisconsin, racing for Team Lavallee, Polaris, Walker Evans.
Kyle Pauline,
teammates.
Lavallee Red Bull Polaris there in 2nd. Looking up the track here at Trent Whitworth.
Remember, Whitworth, if he wins this, has a choice whether he wants to go in the front row or have first choice in the 2nd row.
And you better believe that Kyle Pauline is going to be charging hard. Normally you would say, well, you're in a transfer spot. Why push it? Why risk it?
Right.
But to have that option, to have that choice, that means a lot. So Pauline's going to be hard on the hammer here to try to catch Trent in this LCQ.
You know, and with this starting line and starting area, I would for sure want to go up into the front row. I mean, it's long. You know, if you've got your sledge set up right so you get a good hole shot in that, anything's possible as far as putting you out front. We've seen more than one driver come from the LCQ to go on and take a win.
Meanwhile, Oscar Norm sitting in the 3rd spot. Cole Coutu is back in the 4th position. Travis Muller sitting back in the 5th spot. And again, Andy Leaders is in that final transfer position, and I don't think there's going to be much opportunity in a short race like this for Adam Renheim, who had that off before lap 1 was finished, to try to catch up to him.
Whitwire, or Travis, Travis last year, or Trent last year, Whitworth on a Polaris, then went back to Arctic Cat this year. You know, we've said that before, there's 3 manufacturers, and you as a rider sometimes perform better on one make than another. We've seen other riders that have tried to change brands and have not done well and gone back to what they were originally on and have, you know, picked up and been successful once again. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye on Trent here and see what he can do if he can win this. And like we said, if he wants to bump up into the front row, exactly how he does in the final.
Well, Trent's only got about a 1/3 of a lap left to run here as he heads through the Polaris section of the track up towards the FXR turn. So maybe not the most stellar effort in qualifying, but he's going to give himself at least the option to start in the front row if he wants as he wins the AMSOIL Pro LCQ. Kyle Pauline crossing in 2nd spot. Oscar Norm through for 3rd. Cole Coutu will transfer as well as he takes 4th, followed by Muller and Leaders. So those 6 riders will make up the remainder of the field for our AMSOIL Pro main event. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to meet our overall podium finishers in Pro Snowbike when we return with AMSOIL Championship Snowcross powered by Ram Trucks.
When hydraulic equipment goes down, it means lost time and productivity. Pertec is the leader in hydraulic and industrial hose replacement. Our cutting-edge quality products are designed for industries that rely on hydraulic power. Increase uptime with Pertec's on-site emergency service, available 24/7 with a 1-hour ETA. Visit your local Pertec store for custom hoses and industrial products. Or call us to schedule a preventative maintenance check. Go to PertecUSA.com. Pertec, we'll keep you operating.
And welcome back here to the Elk River Snocross National.